understanding am I religious? I think here's my understanding of, and we were talking a little bit about, people can have this subjective feeling of religion. What is the relationship to that thing being experience? So I can go to church for my whole life, but until I have that relationship with God, that is a subjective experience that is evoked by the sort of structure of the religious practice. Right. So that is absolutely one thing you can do. I think the cool thing is that the problem with reading the Gospels, as I can clearly see that you've done, and I see the striving for religion in you. Like you want to have that, right? Like you want to know, like, what are these people actually kind of talking about? I could be wrong there, but I see this beautiful striving that you're trying really hard to figure this stuff out, which is just awesome to see. I think, though, that if we kind of look at it, and you mentioned kind of psychedelics as well, and I think psychedelics is really interesting because it shatters your meaning of life.
Yes.
And so working a lot with people with trauma, and this is something that I kind of laid out in terms of like making a guide about it. But what I realized is that there's a set of things that you can do relatively sequentially to get your meaning back. And so I think the cool thing about reading the Gospels or psychedelics must change in you. But the cool thing is, like, if you start with something called alexithymia, so as long as you are like using a bunch of substances, as long as you are not able to detect what is going on inside you, that is a fundamental prerequisite of the subjective experience of meaning. Mm-hmm. The second step to that is to go through some stuff around ego. So this is like the other like big thing that we try to focus on is when your default mode network is hyperactive, this is the part of your brain that gives you a sense of who you are. Hyperactive default mode networks lead to depression. Hyperactive default mode networks, philosophy, but remember, this is happening in a subjective mind. If you're not careful, what we know is that philosophy can turn into intellectualizing, that there is a psychological defense where you start looking at theoretical stuff and it sort of shapes the way that